Distinguished participants, let me invite Vytautas Landsbergis, Professor Vytautas Landsbergis, Chairman of the Supreme Council of Lithuania in this exciting time, one of the leaders of our independence, and today, member of the European Parliament. Vytautas Landsbergis, the floor is yours.
Welcome, distinguished dignitaries of Europe and of Lithuania, all European citizens. We are here to concentrate on significance of being in European Union, of the feeling and working as European citizens. That concept of European citizenship is a little bit complicated. We have no inscription in our passports, and sometimes there is a question on what is based and what content is of that expression of that concept. I tried to concentrate a little bit on that. And maybe this film, I looked at it first time, but some points representing the nation. A nation indeed requesting, striving for, and regaining independence. It makes us more clear that understanding what is to be citizen, either of Lithuania or of Europe. It was not a case yet to defend Europe in such an amount of European citizens. But what about, I could say, what is remarkable? It is a feeling. We are here, as then we Lithuanians, and not only Lithuanians, all inhabitants of Lithuania, we had a feeling that we are here, we are home, and we must decide about our being, not some very distant capital of conquistors. And that was our will and our clear vision. And it was a feeling that we are here as citizens and we will decide and build our future. So regaining of independence had a way to freedom via democracy. Democracy when the will of people is expressed clearly at the huge mass rallies, but also by democratic vote, by electing true representatives. This way, we regained not only freedom of action, it was not very easy, but we wanted and regained responsibility. Responsibility for our country, for our land, for all people around here. And from that, I realize that citizens are those who have and share their feeling of being citizens, not passports with inscription or without, but feeling of being citizens, being together, being responsible for this piece of globe. Would it be Lithuania? Would it be Europe? If we may achieve it, then it is worth to live, to work with a belief in Europe as an entity. Europe could be seen as a tribe. In spite of variety of origins, but when you are looking just around, who is boss? Or as in very ancient times, in tribal times, who is the chief? That is not a Europe what we are striving. European Union for European tribe, unified tribe, no. European community as a phenomenon of culture and understanding and feeling of that commonness, maybe I tried to invent a word, commonness of us. Of course, at the beginning, there was EEC, European Economic Community. It is better of EFC, European Fighting Community. Economic, it is already part of cooperation. But it's not the end. It may be a limited sense to work on economy in like quasi-Marxist belief that if economy is okay, everything is okay. We have experienced it, that it is not so, not exactly so. Therefore, I would like to call to work not on understanding of rights and duties of citizens and that sense of citizenship. It is very simple and common to say. But I remember even in Soviet times, these same words with a very clear comment. Where are my rights? But don't remind my duties. We should seek something different. And that this sense of being citizens would be not related to citizenship, which is not very proper word. Maybe I'm disputing now the grounds, paper grounds of our structures. But for me, the citizenship sounds a little bit bureaucratic, as something in passport. I would like to invent maybe wording like citizenity, as not to compare with Christianity or identity. That would be that feeling that we are indeed Europeans, with Europeanism, if it could be an ideology, unifying us, European nations, not making us one unified tribe, only looking around where is our boss. Feeling and understanding of European pride, being proud of being Europeans, not guilty forever because of relevant welfare, but proud of Europe due to its cultural richness and contributing to that. That is Europe, which is worth to build up and to defend. Thank you very much.
Ačiū Vytautui Landsbergiui. Thank you, Professor Vytautas Landsbergis. And let me invite Madame Viviane Reding, European Commission Vice President and Commissioner for Justice, Fundamental Rights and Citizenship. Madame Viviane Reding, floor is yours.
Presidents, Excellencies, Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, friends, citizens. I am very pleased to be back in Vilnius and to see so many familiar faces around. We have come together today to celebrate and to take stock of what has been achieved during the last year of citizens. But I do not want to close this year of citizen as you would close a book when you have finished to read it. And I would not want to file it away, because we have come to the conclusion after 1 year of experience that every year should be a European year of citizens. And that is why we will continue. Why? Because only with its people Europe is what it needs to be. Europe is so much more than an economy, than a market. Europe is 507 million European citizens in their diversity. That is what constitutes our wealth. And that has been understood decades ago when a generation put a vision into reality some 60 years before. And that was in the mind of those generations of people who developed this idea further and made it relevant for people's daily life. And that is what we have to continue today, to benefit all our citizens, whoever they are, wherever they are. And I'm very confident that we are going to achieve this if we are ready to fight for it, because nothing is evident, nothing comes out of the blue sky, and even the things we have achieved have to be reinforced again and again. The complacency and the lack of information is our biggest enemy. But first, I would like to congratulate those very many people and associations who have been engaged under the umbrella of the European Year of Citizens Alliance. It is a true achievement to bring together more than 62 European networks, representing more than 4,000 individual organizations working in 50 countries. Of course, I cannot now start to list all the projects which have been put into practice during this year, the activities, the conferences, the workshops, the exhibitions, and everything you have invented. But I can just tell you it was great. And all this had a common goal: to get people connected with Europe, to make them aware of their rights and obligations, and of the important role Europe plays in their life. So I would like to thank you for this contribution. It is a very important, it was a very important, and it will continue to be very important. As you know, the European Commission also has been engaged during this year. The citizen dialogue was created in order to change the way politicians relate to their voters, to their citizens. When I went around in Europe, I found out that normally people are used to politicians making big speeches, and the only contribution citizens can do is to clap at the end of the speech. And I wanted to change this. I wanted no more speeches, but politicians who listen directly to citizens' concerns, who hear their ideas, because we need to teach to talk to each other in Europe and not about each other. So the idea of the town hall meeting, of the citizens' dialogue, was born. We started the initiative late last year, and I can tell you it wasn't always easy. Well, when I went to Luxembourg to speak to my Luxembourgers, that was pretty easy. But when I went to the south of Spain or to the middle of Greece, when I went to the difficult places in a university in Portugal or to Ireland, well, you can imagine what I heard about from the crisis-driven people. You enter the room and around of you, you had several hundred of people, one question after the other, some worried, some angry, most of them hopeful, and all of them worth it. Because by now the citizens' dialogues have really caught on. There will be the 41st one here in Vilnius today. My fellow commissioners have joined in, national politicians have joined in, members of the European Parliament have joined in, and they all have discussed the value of the face-to-face dialogue with citizens. I can give you one example of many. I went to Sofia earlier this year. Popular upheaval, people shouting in the street, people queuing for 3 hours to get to the hall where the citizens' dialogue took place. And when we started, I can tell you they expressed their deep anger and were not with low voices. The situation, the anger at the situation out there, the anger against their political leaders who refused to listen to them, who refused to speak to them. It was loud. The excitement was high. The air was hot. But in the end, it went very well. Why? Because people for the first time had the chance to confront their politicians face to face and to make their point. People urged their national politicians to continue this kind of dialogues and to speak to the people. And I admired the courage of the Bulgarian president, Plevneliev, who said, yes, I will do that, and who went out to his countryside to have the citizens' dialogue repeated again and again. So all we need now is to continue with the spreading of this new system of relating directly between the politicians and the citizens. All we need now is to continue with our focus on the citizens. And the fact that the most important part of the task is still ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen, because we are heading towards European elections. And that will be the moment of truth. That will be the moment where we will see, have the citizen understood the message? Do the citizens know now that their voice counts? Are the citizens now aware that with their vote they can change the way Europe is going to function in the future? 2 out of 3 Europeans tell us they really feel Europeans. Yet only 1 in 3 knows what that means. And more interestingly, 4 out of 5 think that the turnout in European Parliament elections would increase with more information about the European Union's impact on their daily lives. More information. So the lack of information is one thing, but another is complacency. Now, generations before us have been working hard to build our European house, and we can be proud of their achievement. But many people do not know what Europe is doing for them. We often talk about peace, about freedom, about stability, but people take this for granted now. They travel wherever they want. They have the same rights. They do not need a visa. They can go wherever they want without border controls, without even changing money. And they do not question why it works so well. And you have a whole new generation for whom it has never been different. So what? But there is a what. And I think that Professor Landsbergis said it very clearly. Nothing is given. You have to fight for it every day in order to preserve it. And that is a message we have to bring forward. That is a message we have to tell people, to tell them that they should go out to discuss with the candidates for the European elections, to ask from them what kind of Europe they want to build in Strasbourg, in Brussels, kind of Europe that will then be implemented at the national level. So how can we turn this around? We need all hands on deck, and we need your continued help in convincing people that their choice matters, that their vote matters. And because we have these crucial elections coming up, the Commission considered it appropriate to continue our actions with the European Year of Citizens 2014. We know this is not an easy task. We know it has to be cross-party. We know it has to be cross-national. And we know it is a challenge. And I know those 4,000 organizations which you represent, they know it, they want it, and they will give a helping hand because we are proud to be Europeans. We want to pass this message to the 507 million, so I count on you also in 2014. Thank you.